we are coming into the next major topic. There is a British occupation of India. We'll only discuss Bengal today. So time is there. Okay, so we'll discuss Bengal, and tomorrow we'll discuss about Mysore, Marathas. Then again we can talk about Punjab. Then again Sindh and everything. Okay, today we have to discuss about the Bengal occupation because that is quite important. Okay, that is quite important. That is Mysore, Marathas, then Punjab as well as Sindh. Okay, so first we will discuss the Bengal occupation. Only two battles we have to discuss: Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar. So that will be the end of today's conversation. And tomorrow we'll talk about Mysore, Marathas, Punjab as well as Sindh. Okay, so we will have that continuity there. Okay, and now occupation of Bengal we can talk about. Now Bengal 1651, the first entered Britishers. The first factory in Bengal was Hooghly. Who was the Subedar who gave the permission to establish their first factory? Which Subedar? Shuja. Okay, Sultan Shuja. So he is the person who gave their permission to establish a particular factory. And then again, this was the richest province of India during that point of time. This we are talking about 18th century. Why Bengal was the richest province? What is the reason? Why Bengal was the richest province? For what purpose? Why it was the richest province? Renaissance happened later. Agricultural, that is, we can say that is very good agricultural base as well as trade also, and of course it led to development of industries also. Okay, and the Doab region, but yeah, very nice. That is particularly, that is the Ganga valley, right? That is particularly delta, Ganga delta. Very rich and prosperous. Okay, yeah, but masculine from the point of view of the industry, but agricultural base. So who is the founder of Bengal? We discussed already in 1717. Who is the founder of Bengal? Founder of Bengal state as a successor state. Farooq Siyar, no. Murshid Quli Khan. Somebody is mentioned Murshid Quli Khan. Okay, Murshid Quli Khan was the founder we talked about, and after Murshid Quli Khan there was Alivardi Khan, then again Sarfraz Khan, then again Siraj-ud-Dawla. Okay, so there were many succession. There is Murshid Quli Khan, then again Alivardi Khan. Okay, and then again very major ruler, that is Siraj-ud-Dawla. We know that one. Now what you have to understand here is that one, this Murshid Quli Khan and Alivardi Khan, they were quite powerful. They were very powerful. They never let these foreigners to violate rules and regulations of the land. They never let the foreigners to violate the rules and regulations. They always made the foreigners to submit to the law of the land. And that was also made by Siraj-ud-Dawla. He also wanted to make these foreigners to follow the rules of the land, that is the Bengal rules and regulations. But when foreigners started violating Bengal rules and regulations, and that is when conflict happened between Siraj-ud-Dawla as well as the Britishers. And that directly contributed to which war? That directly contributed to which war particularly? In which war Siraj-ud-Dawla got defeated? Which war? Plassey. Okay, there was a conflict. Plassey, after Plassey we can say Buxar. After Plassey it was Buxar. We'll come to that one. Okay, so now what are the sources of this conflict? So what is the source of conflict between Siraj-ud-Dawla as well as the East India Company? First and foremost is that one, that is backing Siraj-ud-Dawla's rivals. See, when Siraj-ud-Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal, he also had competitors. Yes, I will come to misuse of Dastak. He also had competitors. Who are the competitors to become the Nawab of Bengal is that one, that is his aunt Gashiti Begum and Shaukat Jung. They wanted to become Nawab of Bengal, and Siraj-ud-Dawla became Nawab of Bengal. Now East India Company supported them. Okay, now that is violation of whose sovereignty? Siraj-ud-Dawla's sovereignty, Bengal sovereignty. So they are backing the opposition of the ruler of the land, and that is the first source of conflict. Now the second source of conflict is that one, I told you the Fort William was started to be built from 1690s around the three villages, Gobindpur, Sutanati and Kalikata, and now they started expanding this fort, and the fortification of St. Fort William without the permission of the Siraj-ud-Dawla, or we can say the ruler of Bengal. Obviously, if you want to expand those particular fort, you require the permission of the ruler. But they are expanding the fort without the permission of Siraj-ud-Dawla. And why they are expanding fort is that one? Because the fear of French. East India Company, okay, at the same time, French East India Company, they were engaged in battle, okay, which is started in 1756. That is 7 years war. Isn't 7 years war only that was happening? Isn't? Now the English India Company feared that is how this proxy war might spread to India. They were trying to increase their defenses by expanding the fort, but without taking permission from Siraj-ud-Dawla. But Siraj-ud-Dawla, as the ruler of the land, he felt like it requires his permission to expand the fort. Okay, so because of French fear, Britishers were expanding Fort William. And the third major reason, very, very important reason, that is the violation or misuse of royal firman. And what is this royal firman? We already discussed. That is the Dastaks. Like I already mentioned, Dastaks was given to whom? To the East India Company or to the private trade of the officials? Dastaks was given to whom? Dastaks could be issued by whom? To which trade? To East India Company trade or to the private trade of the East India Company officials? But to the East India Company as a trade, not to the private trade of the officials. But right now, these officials started using this dastak for their private trade. And that would directly harm what position of Bengal? How it will harm? The Bengal state. How it will harm? Financial harm will happen, right? Because if dastak is there, that is used for the private trade, they no need to pay taxation. They no need to pay taxation. Only East India Company was allowed not to pay taxation. Indians had to pay taxation. East India Company officials for their private trade, they had to pay taxation. But right now, they are misusing the dastaks for their private trade, which was not covered under dastaks. So it directly threatened the Bengal taxation, Bengal financial treasury. Okay, loss to exchequer. That is a word we can say. That is used for private trade. That is a royal firman. That is a dastak. And it was loss of revenue to Bengal state. Obviously, as a ruler, Siraj-ud-Dawla need to take some kind of action against that one. Listen. And then English company also gave shelter to one noble called as Krishnadas. Noble. He was a noble in Bengal court and who fled with treasures from Siraj-ud-Dawla. Okay. Now they are violating the law of the land. Who is violating the law of the land? East India Company violating the law of the land. Now who want to take action against him? Siraj-ud-Dawla. Obviously, after all this, he gave a lot of warnings, but Britisher did not concede to his warnings, so he had to take some kind of actions. And what action he took? Siraj gave warnings but ignored, and now he attacked Kasim Bazar in June 1756. That is around Calcutta. Kasim Bazar is a place, Calcutta. Okay, so in June 1756, we are talking about June 1756, not June 1757. Still 1 year go to Battle of Plassey. Okay, yes, that is he attacked Kasim Bazar in June 1756. He defeated the English. And there is one infamous story has been created, and there is a black hole incident. We don't have any evidence to support this incident. According to British historians, this incident exists. According to Indian historians, this incident doesn't exist. What this black hole incident is, that one, that is all of you probably know about that one. When Siraj-ud-Dawla attacked Kasim Bazar, that is the Fort William, which was there. Now we imprisoned around more than 100 people, 100 British merchants as well as British citizens in a small room. And that led to suffocation and death of this particular British people, or we can say British subjects. And now that is used as an excuse by East India Company to defeat Siraj-ud-Dawla. Okay, to defeat Siraj-ud-Dawla. Okay, so now East India Company wanted a reason to attack Siraj-ud-Dawla, and they created this story of black hole. Okay, they created the story of black hole because East India Company was responsible to British government to conduct wars in India. They simply cannot conduct wars in India. To conduct wars, they require a proper reason. They should be the victim. They cannot be the aggressor before conducting the war. So they want a particular reason to attack. Like what is happening with Palestine and Israel. Why Israel is attacking? Because of whatever that attack happened from the one of the terrorist organization of Palestinians. Okay, so that was happened. Okay, so now this black hole incident was being created to have some kind of a moral right to attack Siraj-ud-Dawla. Okay, now Englishers got completely defeated. Now Manik Chand, remember this name, was left in charge of Calcutta. Now Siraj-ud-Dowla appointed an officer to look after the Calcutta affairs. Okay, their name was Manik Chand. We'll come back to that name one more time. Now Britishers waited for help from Madras, because in Madras, that is where the battle was going on, or war was going on with the French. That is the third Carnatic war that was happening in Madras region, right? Carnatic region. And now the Britishers from Bengal requested help from the Madras. And from Madras, who came? Who is a very famous person, or rather infamous person who came from Madras? Clive. Okay, so Clive came. Okay, Robert Clive came from Madras. Okay. Now leading to Plassey. Now what happened? Now Robert Clive and English army attacked Calcutta in 1757 February. Okay, now they attacked Siraj-ud-Dowla in Calcutta in 1757 February, and now Siraj-ud-Dowla and East India Company signed a treaty of Alinagar after this conflict. First Siraj-ud-Dowla attacked, and later the Englishers attacked. Kind of a even battle, we can say. Now Siraj-ud-Dowla got defeated, and that is the reason they signed a treaty. The treaty is called Treaty of Alinagar. Okay. Now according to this treaty, the earlier trade privileges of the Britishers, which was taken away by Siraj-ud-Dowla after attacking Qasim Bazar, now they were restored. Now the Englishers were allowed to trade right now, because previously all their rights were being taken away. All were taken away by Siraj-ud-Dowla. But Robert Clive was on the offensive right now. He sensed the danger of Siraj-ud-Dowla. Siraj-ud-Dowla is never going to make Britishers' job quite easy in Bengal, and that is the reason Clive thought we should eliminate Siraj-ud-Dowla, and that is the reason he started conspiracy. Conspiracy with whom? Conspiracy with Siraj-ud-Dowla's supporters also, Siraj-ud-Dowla's nobles also. Okay, and before he could do that one, now he first attacked Chandranagur in March 1757. Okay, who attacked? That is Clive. Clive attacked Chandranagur. Whose territory Chandranagur was? It was a territory. It was settlement of which country? Chandranagur? French territory. Okay, so Chandranagur was a French territory, or we can say French settlement in March 1757. Okay, at the same time, he started conspiracy with his rivals. Okay, like Manik Chand, an officer in charge of Calcutta. Conspiracy with him. Then Omi Chand, a rich merchant of Calcutta. Then Jagat Seth, the famous banker of Bengal. And again Rai Durlab and Kadim Khan, important nobles. And of course, Mir Jafar was a Mir Bakshi. What is Mir Bakshi? The term we have seen already. What is Mir Bakshi? What is Mir Bakshi? Army chief. Army chief that we talked about during Mughals, because the Bengal is the Mughal successor state. They use the same terms also. Okay. Now, why all these people supported the English is that one, that all of them had issues with Siraj-ud-Dowla. Mir Jafar was actually a relative of Siraj-ud-Dowla. He wanted to become Nawab. Okay, was actually a uncle of Siraj-ud-Dowla, Mir Jafar. He wanted to become the Nawab. All of them had a selfish interest. Okay, all of them had selfish interests. Now look at that one, big merchants and famous bankers and all these things. Okay, so they were going against Siraj-ud-Dowla. Even his military commander is going against Siraj-ud-Dowla. So can we say the result of Plassey was already predetermined? The result of Plassey was already predetermined? Can you say that one? Was it a real battle? Was it a real battle? Was it a real war? No. Definitely not, right? Because everybody was knowing that Siraj-ud-Dowla is going to lose, and even the army commander is also fighting for the Britishers. Okay, now Battle of Plassey on 23rd June 1757 on banks of river Bhagirathi. Only two persons were fighting for Siraj, that is Mohanlal and Mir Madan on Siraj side, and because already all other persons were fighting with the Britishers. And due to conspiracy and treason, Siraj got easily defeated, and later he was executed also. And now, who became the masters of Bengal? Who became the new Nawab? Two questions. Who became the masters of Bengal? EAC. Who became the new Nawab? Mir Jafar. Okay, who became new Nawab? Mir Jafar. And this date, that is 23rd June 1757, that night, within one day, the battle got ended and Sirajudaulah got executed, and famous Bengali poet Nabin Chandra Sen has called it as a night of eternal gloom. A night of eternal gloom. Why is terming this date or that particular evening of 23rd June 1757 as a night of eternal gloom means? What am I night of eternal gloom? British became kingmakers. What am I gloom? Gloomy means what? Gloomy means what? Sadness. Because the darkness descended upon Bengal, perhaps entire India. Okay, the darkness descended upon Bengal and India later. Because what happened after 1757 Battle of Plassey is drain of wealth from India to England. Okay, so because these big bankers are involved in this conspiracy, okay, so there is one more quote. It says that one, that is, listen to this one. Plassey was a banking transaction in which the big bankers of Bengal and Mir Jafar sold out Nawab, that is Sirajudaulah, to the English. Okay. That is how historians have described Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey was a banking transaction in which the big bankers of Bengal and Mir Jafar sold out Nawab to Britishers or to the East India Company. Because there was no battle at all. It was a transaction. So some rich merchants, everything came together and they sold Sirajudaulah to the Britishers. Is it right? That is how it has been defined also. No need to go for such kind of statements for prelims, but when you read textbooks, you are going to get this kind of statements over there. Okay, you can utilize this in mains answer writing. Any kind of questions will come in British occupation part, so you can use this particular statements too. Okay, so now what is the results of Plassey? Mir Jafar became the Nawab. Okay, at the same time, now undisputed free trade in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Okay, undisputed free trade in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Now zamindari of 24 Paraganas. 24 Paraganas is a place in Bengal. Okay, is a place in Bengal. Okay, what am I zamindari? Zamindari right means what? Zamindari right means what? We already discussed about. They already have the zamindari right of 3 villages. Now zamindari of 24 Paraganas. Okay, revenue collection right. They could get revenue collection right. Okay, now they received lot of gifts, bribe from Mir Jafar, not hereditary, but revenue collection right. Revenue collection, not hereditary, but revenue collection right. Okay, now lot of gifts and bribes started. Okay, started demanding these gifts and bribes from these Indian rulers, particularly Mir Jafar. Okay, and now what happened to Mir Jafar? Mir Jafar obviously had become the Nawab of Bengal. Okay, now he could not satisfy the Britishers. What he thought, he would take the help of Britishers to become Nawab, and once he becomes Nawab, Britishers will leave him alone. He was being very naive. The Britishers will leave him alone after once he becomes the Nawab. So he thought he would give some concessions to Britishers. He'll give some money, then Britishers will go away. Then he will start rule on his own. But that did not happen. Britishers started interfering in Mir Jafar's administration, started demanding more and more bribes, more and more gifts. Okay, and now he could not satisfy the Britishers. Now he wanted to defeat the Britishers. He also got fed up with Britishers. Okay, now a lot of interference in his administration. Now Henry Vansittart, one of the British official, wanted him to depose Mir Jafar. What do you mean depose? Depose means what? Depose? Dethrone him, because he is not satisfying them. Okay, so because he is not satisfying the Britishers, so the British officers felt, we will change the ruler. Exactly, somebody is mentioned, we will change the ruler. Okay, so these are official. Henry Vansittart, British official, he wanted to change Mir Jafar. But Mir Jafar wanted to defeat Britishers, and one battle happened, Battle of Bedara or Chinsura. We already discussed about this particular battle. Now Mir Jafar sided with the Dutch against East India Company, and that happened Battle of Bedara. That is in 1759. Help from Dutch, but Britishers were too powerful by this point of time. Now both of them got defeated. And Colonel Francis Ford and Captain Charles Wilson defeated Jafar as well as Dutch also. Defeated Jafar as well as Dutch too. Okay, so these are the two commanders who defeated Mir Jafar and defeated Dutch. Okay, now who became the new Nawab right now? Who became the new Nawab? Mir Qasim. Okay, Mir Qasim is son-in-law. That's Mir Jafar's son-in-law actually betrayed Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar had betrayed Siraj-ud-Dawla. Okay, now Mir Jafar got betrayal by own son-in-law, that is Mir Qasim. Can you say karma? Can you say it as a karma? Isn't it right? It was a karma. Now we had cheated Siraj-ud-Dawla. Now we got cheated by his own son-in-law, Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim helped Britishers. And now we became the new Nawab. And Mir Qasim also thought like Mir Jafar. I will become Nawab. They will leave. Then I will start my own administration. But that did not happen. Britishers again interfered with Mir Qasim's administration. And that led to which battle? That led to Buxar. Okay. That led to Battle of Buxar. So now Mir Qasim, with the help of Vansittart, the same person who deposed, we can say, Mir Jafar, helped Mir Qasim to become the Nawab in 1760. And now he actually was an able administrator, very good administrator. Okay. So I am from Buxar only. Very good to hear. Okay. So now he is an able administrator. Now he shifted headquarters to Monguer, that is in Bihar, from Murshidabad. Murshidabad was in, we can say, in Calcutta region. That is Bengal, we can say. Okay. He shifted headquarters. And why he is shifting the headquarters? What is the reason he is shifting headquarters from Murshidabad to Monguer? Because in Murshidabad, there are a lot of British interference is there. They will keep interfering in his administration. So he wanted to stay away from Britishers. So he shifted capital to Monguer, or we can say headquarters to Monguer. That is in Bihar. Okay. And now his army was reorganized because he knew Britishers were danger. Now he started to modernize the army. He built one gun factory also. He tried to dismiss all the corrupt officials as well as zamindars who were in support of the Britishers. Okay. So now what Mir Qasim is doing, do you think it is in the liking of the Britishers? Do you think the Britishers will like Mir Qasim what he is doing? No, right? Okay. So definitely they are not going to like Mir Qasim. And he fortified Bihar also. He trying to protect Bihar because he was sensing the danger. He knew that is Britishers definitely going to come in future. There is going to be kind of conflict. That is the reason he wanted to safeguard himself from Britishers. Okay. But he was not fitting in the game of imperialism. Britishers wanted a puppet in the name of Mir Qasim. But he was going against the British schemes. He was going against the British intentions, or we can say British interest in Bengal. Isn't right? Now the conflict happened between Mir Qasim as well as East India Company, and that led to Buxar in 1764. Understood, right? Okay. Now what are the sources of the conflict? What are the sources of conflict? First sources is that one, that is interference in his administration. Britishers started interfering in Mir Qasim's administration. How they interfered? They punished Mir Qasim's officials. Okay, Britishers thought they are real masters. They started punishing Mir Qasim's officials. Okay, and Britishers held courts also, and that is justice courts. They were running their own judicial system. Because who is the supreme judicial power in any province or in the state? Who should be the supreme judicial power? Who is the highest court of appeal? Punish Mir Qasim officials. Punish Mir Qasim's officials. They were taking action against Mir Qasim officials. Okay. And now they were holding justice system. They were holding their own private courts. Now all these things amounted to interference in his administration. They are not letting Mir Qasim to properly administer. Okay. At the same time, they passed dastaks to friendly Indian merchants. Now, what happened in friendly Indian merchants is that we know dastak. Okay, in 1717, dastak was given, or dastak power was given. It was given to whom? East India Company, isn't it? But it was not given to private trade of East India Company officials. Isn't it right? Okay. At the same time, dastak was not available to Indians, or we can say Bengalis, during that point of time. Okay. Now what happened? These East India Company officials, what happened in 1757? They misutilized the dastak. But right now, these officials, what they are doing, they're passing dastaks to Indians also. Now, East India Company is not paying revenue. These officials are not paying revenue. Now, Indians will also not pay revenue. Now, that will affect whom? That will directly impact whom? It will directly impact what? Mir Qasim. Isn't treasury? It is going to be loss of treasury. Isn't? Now what happened is that is what Britishers did. They passed dastak to friendly Indian merchants for some kind of commission. These Indian merchants will pay some kind of commission to avoid taxation, and that was disrupting inland trade. Because now Mir Qasim wanted to take action, and that led to Battle of Buxar. Okay. Now, what he did was he abolished this taxation. Okay. Abolished taxation for everyone and made everyone equal. Inland trade means within Bengal. Inland trade means within Bengal, we can say. Okay. Inland trade means within Bengal. Okay. Now, what he did was he abolished taxation for everyone, including Britishers also, Indians also. Indians also as well as British also, now making everybody equal. So there will be no discrimination at all. Now do you think Britishers is going to accept that position? Do you think Britishers are going to accept being everybody is equal? No. Isn't? So point 2 is that is they're passing dastaks to Indians. And passing dastaks to Indians, Indians also will not pay taxation, and that would affect Mir Qasim's treasury. Isn't right? That will affect Mir Qasim's treasury. By Britishers, yes. By Britishers only. And all those good things were always done by Britishers. Okay, not by Indians. Okay. And now, what Mir Qasim did was that he abolished this taxation system for everybody. He made trade is free. No need to pay anybody any kind of taxation. Of course, that would affect the treasury, but it would reform the system. It would increase the volume of trade. And that is the advantage for this particular kind of system. And obviously, Britishers are not going to accept this equal position with Indians. And now what happened is Buxar of 1764. Okay. Understood, right? These are the 3 sources of conflict. Okay. Any doubts? Is that clear? Plassey and Buxar? Yes, very clear. Okay. Now, Mir Qasim took help from certain people. Okay. He got help from his allies. That is, who are the allies? That is Shah Alam II of Mughals, and then again Shujauddaulah of Awadh. These 3 persons against East India Company, and East India Company was led by Hector Munro. Okay. East India Company was led by Hector Munro. Now 3 versus 1. But by 1764, Britishers were too powerful. Okay, even the combined army of Bengal, Mughals and Awadh could not defeat East India Company. Okay, that happened. Okay, now post Buxar, what happened? What is the changes that happened in Bengal after post Buxar? British became ultimate powers in India. Dual government, yes, we will discuss dual government also. Some treaties we will discuss. They signed some treaties. After discussing the treaties, then we will discuss dual government, and then we will end the session for today. Okay. Now, signed some treaties with all these 3 powers. There is Bengal, Mughals, as well as Awadh also. Okay. And now in 1765, after Battle of Buxar, which Nazmuddaulah, he was the new Nawab of Bengal. He is one of the sons of Mir Jafar. He is one of the sons of Mir Jafar. Now he became the new Nawab of Bengal. Now whatever the treaties they signed between new Nawab of Bengal is that one. Now Bengal should disband his army. What am I disbanding army? What am I disbanding army? Bengal should disband its army or Nawab's army. What about disbanding? Not having army. They should not have army. Then who will protect Bengal? If Bengal is not having army, who will protect Bengal? Who is responsible for Bengal? Britishers. Okay, Britishers should be responsible. And now administration of Bengal should be carried on through a deputy Subedar. Okay, Nawab, the new Nawab of Bengal, he should carry Bengal administration with the help of a deputy Subedar. Okay, and his deputy Subedar will be appointed in consultation with East India Company. Okay, in consultation with East India Company. The Nawab has to appoint a deputy Subedar, and the deputy Subedar should be appointed in consultation with East India Company, and then later he should run the administration. Can we say kind of an indirect control over the administration of the Britishers? Right? Indirect control? Can we say that? Indirect control or direct control we can say? Over the Bengal administration. Yes, we can say that one. Okay, so now Treaty of Allahabad, also called as Prayagraj. Okay, that is again in 1765, and this was signed with Shah Alam II. And Shah Alam II was the Mughal emperor. Okay, now Shah Alam II granted one right to the Britishers, and that right is called as Diwani right. Diwani right of 3 states, that is Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. What do you mean by Diwani right? Any idea? What do you mean by Diwani right? What do you mean by Diwani right? Tax collection. Okay. Zamindari is also tax collection. But Zamindari right is you collect tax from peasants, pay it to the state, you receive some incentives, some commission. That is Zamindari right. But Diwani right means whatever the tax I'm collecting, that is belong to me. Okay, that is belong to me. That is called as Diwani right. So now all the revenues of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha will directly go to whom? Not to the Bengal Nawab, but to whom? To the East India Company. But to East India Company. So now can we say there more control over the Bengal resources? More control over Bengal resources? Yes. Kings were given pension. Yes, of course, I will come to that one. Now at the same time, can we say now the Bengal resources, okay, de facto, yeah, we can say de facto ruler, that is also word, we can definitely say that one. Now, can we say Britishers now have the direct control over Bengal resources and indirect control over Bengal administration? Indirect control over Bengal administration and direct control over Bengal's resources. Can we say that? Yes, we can definitely say that one. Okay, now Shah Alam II would be given some pension, 26 lakh per annum. Now the Mughal emperor now became the pensioner. Pensioner of whom? East India Company. East India Companies will going to pay pension to Shah Alam II. The mighty Mughals becoming very, very weak. Once who expanded their territory from, we can say that is from northern India to southern India and nearly from Afghanistan to Assam. Okay, so now becoming a weaker and weaker too. Exactly. Okay, at the same time Allahabad district and Korat districts would be provided to Shah Alam II. What do you mean by Allahabad district and Korat district? Korat is a district, is a place. The revenue from these two districts will go to Shah Alam II. Other than the 26 lakh pension, the revenue from Allahabad district and Korat district, that will go to Shah Alam II. Understood, right? So now the Mughal emperor became a being controlled by Britishers for their daily needs also. Okay, now one more treaty was signed with Shuja'ud-Dawla, who was the Nawab of Awadh. Okay, he was the Nawab of Awadh and is called a second treaty of Allahabad or Prayagraj, we can say. And now he has to pay war indemnity of 50 lakh rupees to Britishers. What would be war indemnity? What would be war indemnity? What would be war indemnity? Compensation. He has to provide compensation. At the same time, British troops will be stationed in Awadh to protect him from foreigners. So again, base for which particular system this is? Which particular system later in 1798, 1799 by Wellesley? Subsidiary system. Okay, this is the beginning. Okay, so now Britishers stationed certain troops in Awadh for the protection of Awadh from foreigners. These foreigners could be Marathas and these foreigners could be, let's say, Afghans also, because there were a lot of Afghans invasion that was happening during that point of time. Okay, so now it is becoming the base for subsidiary alliance system. Okay, first brainchild was Duplay. Further development happened in 1765, ultimately consolidated by Wellesley in 1798-99. Okay, and now we became the dependent of East India Company. Can we say that one? Now who will protect Awadh? It's a Britishers. It's completely becoming the completely dependent upon East India Company. Understood? Okay, so this is about Buxar. Okay, so now Buxar had far-reaching consequences for destiny of India. What is this far-reaching consequences? How the destiny of India changed after Buxar? That eternal gloom, what Nabin Chandra Sen talks about, it became permanent after Buxar. Okay, now there is no rivals, particularly in northern India, after the defeat of Bengal rulers. So now Britishers became the masters of India, the political masters of India. Okay, now huge resources of Bengal now in the hands of Britishers. And now after Buxar, they came up with one administration in Bengal, that is dual administration. Yes, I am coming to dual administration. You people are quite forward. Huh? Wait for me to come. I know you people are quite forward. I am coming into this. Okay, so that is dual government. Okay, dual government started after Battle of Buxar. You are right, Jyoti. Okay, so that is in Bengal from 1765 to 1772. Okay, what is this dual government? Any idea? What is this dual government? What is the meaning of dual government? We'll discuss dual government, then we will end the session for today. Very simple, 1 or 2 slides. What is dual government? Dual government means? What is dual government? Revenue and administration. Okay, that is one the rule of East India Company and rule of Nawab. Okay, split off. Power to collect taxation as well as administration without any responsibility. We'll come to that. Real head Nawab, actually the East India. Yeah, you have the fair understanding, good understanding of the topic. De jure and de facto. The East India Company's rule and Nawab rule. Now East India Company, it will look after what? Diwani. What do you mean by Diwani? Revenue collection. We already know. Diwani right of which territories? Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. And at the same time, Diwani also means civil justice administration. Civil justice. What is civil justice? What cases related to civil justice? What is civil justice? Which cases are related to civil justice? We have 2 justice systems, right? Criminal and civil. Land issue. Okay, taxation issue, land issue, that we can say civil justice system. Now that is under the control of East India Company. Now Nawab, his administration is called as Nizamat. The marriage, adoption, inheritance, that is also there. Yeah, that is Nizamat. Nizamat means judicial administration as well as criminal administration. Okay, they will continue, they will have control of civil justice, they will have control over judicial administration as well as criminal administration. Okay, and of course looking after law and order. At the same time, he should run this administration, the administration of Nizamat, through a deputy Subedar. And this deputy Subedar will be appointed in permission with or in consultation with East India Company. No, appointed by Nawab. Appointed by Nawab. But after taking permission from East India Company, in consultation with East India Company. Obviously, technically, that is appointed by East India Company only. There is no difference. Okay. And who was the deputy Subedar? Muhammad Riza Khan. Muhammad Riza Khan. Okay. Understood? And he also acted as deputy Diwan on behalf of East India Company. This Diwani was also under his control. The Diwani was also under his control. Deputy Diwan. What about Diwan? What about Diwan? Somebody please mute. What about Diwan? Revenue. Okay, revenue. Now, what is the impact of this dual administration? What is the impact of this dual administration? Last slide, we can say that is, we can say there is one power or one institution at the power but no responsibility. Who have the real power but no responsibility towards people? Who have the real power right now? Who have the real power in Bengal? East India Company. But do they have any responsibility towards welfare of people? No. Is it right? But at the same time, the Nawab had the responsibility of welfare but without any power. What is the real power? That is Diwani power. The Diwani power was in the hands of the Britishers. The real money is in the hands of Britishers. They would not let Nawab to administer properly. At the same time, another impact, please understand this concept, and I would ask you this question: what is the impact of this Diwani right for India as a whole? Diwani right, we know that is revenue of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha in the hands of East India Company. Okay. Now, how it helped East India Company? Financial instability? No. Anybody? You can unmute and say also. I would give you the option of, you can unmute anybody. If you have the perfect understanding, you can unmute and give it. Rule India with Indian money. Very good. Suraj. Okay. Rule India with Indian money. Understand concept like this. Before 1764, Diwani right. In 1764, we can 1765 with the Treaty of Allahabad. Before this one, to buy Indian goods, East India Company at importing gold and silver from England. Isn't it? To buy Indian goods, they wanted gold and silver from England. Now, that is the reason India was called a sink of precious metals. All the capital accumulation was happening in India. Isn't? Now, India after exporting this one, receiving lot of gold and silver. But right now, what happened? They don't require this gold and silver from home. They can use Indian money to buy Indian goods and export it to England. Okay? Out of Indian money, they can buy Indian goods, export it to outside. Now, this is the plundering of Bengali, they say. Drain of wealth. The real drain of wealth started from India. Understood this concept? Now, what stopped in India? What stopped in India? What stopped in India? Coming of gold, or we can say capital accumulation stopped in India. Isn't? Capital stopped coming into India. Yes, exactly. That is, there was an administrative breakdown also. Because of this particular system, we can say, there was an administrative breakdown also. Now, purchase goods from India's revenue and no need for bullion from home. Bullion means what? Bullion means gold and silver. Bullion means gold and silver. And now the beginning of drain of wealth. Beginning of drain of wealth, and led to a lot of famines in India. Because of this administrative breakdown, a lot of famines happened. What are my famines? Hunger, starvation. And finally, this was ended by Warren Hastings in 1772. That's the dual administration was ended by Warren Hastings in 1772. Okay, so this is about the occupation of Bengal. And tomorrow we'll see the occupation of Mysore, or Mysuru we can say. Okay, this is about today's.